social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
Grace and peace, everybody. Grace and peace. We are back. Now, you saw that thumbnail. You saw that title. So, we're going to come over here tonight and we're going to talk about this New Orleans jailbreak story. This is the most Shawshank Redemption thing I've ever heard in my life. This is the craziest story. Well, maybe not the craziest. It's definitely trending up there, though. Let's just give it credit. This is a wild story, y'all. So tonight we're going to go through, shout out to my pusher man, Marshall the Plug. He has filled, dare I say, inundated my inbox with clips related to this case. So we are going to go through this. This is a really wild story. And I just did not realize all the complexities and angles that went along with it. So we're going to jump into it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. So hopefully you all are having a beautiful Lord's Day Eve. Hopefully, if you've heard this story, you've heard a little bit about it. I'm trying to give you a full orb view of it because it's crazy. I heard about it the other day. I'm like, whatever. What was it? Inmate trying to run across the street or something, an interstate. I was like, okay, whatever. And I always think it's in Atlanta. I'm like, what? That's the most Atlanta thing I've heard today, right? But then my email started filling up. And Marshall the Plug was like, you need to look at this. You need to look at this. I should show you all my inbox. This guy, Marshall the Plug, shout out to Marshall. He sent me so many articles, newscasts, reels, TikToks about this crazy story. I didn't have a clue how crazy it was. But now I do. Yes, I do now. So let's go ahead. Thank you so much for jumping into the best live chat on the internet. Go ahead and hit that like button. Jump up in here. Say what's up. Jailbreak 2025. Who had that on their bingo board? Bingo board. I didn't. Let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go.
10 inmates at the Orleans Parish Jail were able to escape, and the sheriff says that they started that escape by yanking a door off of its track. I'm Melissa Curtis. I work with WWL Louisiana. Earlier this year, about 2 months ago, we got a close look and a tour at the Orleans Parish Justice Center. They brought us inside and showed us all the issues that they say they're having over at the facility. One of those issues they mentioned were those doors. Now, representatives from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office took us around and they showed us some of these sliding doors and said that it's not the best system that they are using right now. They say that those doors are easy to get off the track, but they need to maintain them in a certain way that they are properly secured, but they also can get in and out of those doors. So again, they pointed today during a press conference to those doors being pulled off of that track as a way that they were able to escape. While we were over at the jail earlier this year for that tour, they also spoke about several other issues that they are having in the facility. They say a lot of it needs upgrades, a lot of it is run down, broken. This was all part of a push to renew a millage that the OPSO has had in the past few years. That millage recently passed. But again, they showed us all these issues. But today I spoke with DA Jason Williams about the escape. And he says that the facility shouldn't really need all these upgrades. He says it's a fairly new building. While he was on the city council, they allotted a lot of money to this facility. So he says this isn't a facility breakdown issue. Rather, this is a leadership issue.
All right. Okay, I have pictures of how they snuck out of the facility. You know what? I'm gonna wait till we get when we get 25 people in the chat. I'll show it. As soon as we have 25 people in the chat, I'll just show it. Otherwise, I'll show it at the end. I don't know about new facility, my guy. I don't know if that. I probably wouldn't want to use the word new facility or updated facility. I don't know if I would use that. Because what I have and what I'm going to show you is not a new facility, in my opinion, at least. So let's bring this in. We're going to bring this. We're going to talk to the former parish sheriff and see what he's got to say. That's probably not the best. Let's see right here. Get me out of the way. There we go. Let's go. One in the chat when you can hear. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. I'm gonna back up for a quick second. I heard somebody say that they cannot hear. I want to make sure you can hear. Gerald, if you're able to hear, can you just I know it's kind of low. It sounded kind of low initially when it started off, but I'll back it up if you can. Just let me know if you can hear. Let's try it again. Okay, they said it can't hear. I apologize, y'all. All right, let me do this. Then I'm gonna save this one. I'll come back to it. All right. I'm listening to it too. I can't hear either. All right, so I'm gonna save that one for later because I have truly enough that we can talk about. So let me jump over. These ones seem to have been working fine. So let me try it in its native app. I don't think nah. Some reason or other that newscast, WD, they were just talking to the previous sheriff. All right, and for whatever reason, it seems like it's not playing or sounding clearly. And I don't want to I'm gonna try this one. This is just another breakdown of the arrest. I mean the escape. So let's bring this in. All right, we're gonna try one more time. And then if not, then we'll stop playing those ones because it might be something with WDST. All right, can you give me real quick? WDSU, please forgive me. Can you please hit me up with that green heart if you can here? Mm-mm. All right, some reason or another, these ones are not playing. The audio is not playing for these ones. I can hear it in my ears, but you all can't. And I don't know why that is. So we'll just leave it alone. We're gonna just go and keep it moving. All right, let's look at how these gentlemen got out of this. This is some Shawshank Redemption. I don't care what y'all say, man. This is some Shawshank. Let me share this real quick. All right, let's go. Let's go. That's crazy. Oh, there you are, right there. Yep. Don't be picking on the hitchhikers. That all right. All right. So that's part of it. This story is crazy. Do I got 25 people in the chat? When I get 25 in the chat, I'll show you the actual because I think it's funny. They're not showing you how they snuck out. They show you that they broke the door off the hinge. They show you that they went into a cell, but they don't show you how they got out of the cell to freedom. I'm gonna show you the picture. It is, I don't know. When they say this is a new facility, I'm sorry. Yeah, you might need to, we might need to reevaluate the word new means because it's pretty, it looks bad. This does not look good. for New Orleans by any means or measures. Oh, they got a new update. Oh, they got a new update. Oh, well, I didn't have that planned. All right, in lieu of the sheriff that didn't come on, we'll go with this one. Okay, I'm gonna save this one because it looks like it might be newer than what I already had planned to show. I have a ton of clips on this from this, a ton of clips. Sorry about that. Got thing playing in my ear loud. Uh, this is really crazy. So let's go ahead and hear what the sheriff had to say about the case and the such of that nature. This is just a quick. You probably saw this yesterday as well. Kev, no, man, we can't be. No, that's the problem, man. No, Pookie needs to be held accountable. We cannot let Pookie get out. No, no t-shirt ministry, none of that stuff. None of that. Put Kevin in 0-second timeout. All right, let's bring this back in. Let's go. No sound? I'm having some y'all, I'm on struggle stream tonight. Y'all, I am struggle streaming. Y'all cannot hear this? Ay, yay, yay. All right, let me refresh this. Hold on 1 second. Because I really think it's something with my StreamYard. Hold on 1 second. All right. This is struggle bus town. Let's get this together. All right, let's end this all together. We're gonna start over again. All right. All right, we're gonna try again. All right. I'm just gonna real quick. Let me know if y'all can hear
What does
this.
it say? And I mean this respectfully, but you said, and I'm going to quote you here, that you observed those guys running out at 1 o'clock in the morning. What does it say for jailhouse safety and security when you see a jailbreak like that, but you fail to notify anyone, NOPD, the public, anyone?
We didn't say that.
What did you say then?
Yeah. We observed on the video later this morning. We had to pull that
He
video.
said you observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through the investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, my investigators found that at 1 a.m. that's what happened.
So no one was watching live video all night at the jail.
I won't say no one was watching live video,
And
but
how did nobody see them
there are
leaving
over
the jail?
900 cameras.
How did nobody see them leaving the
There are
jail?
over 900 cameras
I
in
know.
this
It's
facility.
just, how did no one see a massive jailbreak?
We're the why and how is part of the investigation. So we have interviewed, I think, all of our employees, and we are interviewing all of the residents of that particular pod as well. And then there's a lot of people that you've got to wade through their interviews to find out, to get down to the details of what happened. There was somebody on duty.
Sheriff, a source told us that phone calls haven't been monitored over the past week, and escaped inmates were planning how they were going to get out through phone calls. Were y'all monitoring phone calls?
We monitor phone calls all the time. There are 1,400 people in this jail, over the city council 1250 limit. So can you monitor every single person every day? No, we don't have the bodies to do that. But we do monitor, and we rely on tips, and we have an intelligence unit that monitors what's going on in the jail. There's a lot of things at any given time going on.
But it's your job. It's your job to monitor every single person in this facility every day.
Visually with our deputies on the pods. Yes.
I did have a question. The former sheriff, Marlon Gusman, he disputes the claims that there were a lot of issues here at the facility after he left. Do you stand by your statement about the issues with it? And also, we learned that you have a $14 million fund balance. Why wasn't that money used to repair the lots? If you could talk about that.
Can I speak I can speak more intelligently, I believe, to the physical plant in the jail. Not necessarily designed, but at some point this jail was planned, and it was obviously planned to be a minimum custody facility. I don't know what the dynamics of the population was in New Orleans as far as those incarcerated around that time, but that is not the dynamic now. Right now we have 24 pods, and 90% of those pods are populated with high security inmates. Those are people that are predatory, assaultive, violent, and aggressive. So we were in the process now of developing an ad-seg unit, because we identified a large number of individuals that needed to be on some type of restrictive housing environment that did not exist at this facility. So it's plenty of deficiencies when we start to talk about the physical plant. So it's not correct to say that those things didn't exist, because I mean they're prevalent.
This jail opened in 2015 until 2022. They never had a jailbreak. So when you say it's not built for that, or it's not ready, they never had a jailbreak from 2015 to 2022 like this.
The sheriff says that all the time. She talks about the 83% recidivism rate. So you got people in and out of here all the time. So they've been here and
but you just said this is a minimum security.
No, I said
you said it's a minimum security
facility.
Had to be built for a minimum. So
they had maximum security inmates in here from 2015 to 2022.
You start talking about locks. I don't know of a max security inmate. Right now they had an objective classification system in place. I don't know if that was in place to identify properly if there were max security. It may have been everybody clumped together. We know now, based on our objective criteria, that we do have people that are classified at a higher security level than what this particular facility was built for.
Yeah, talking about failures in the project, maintenance and service contracts.
They are not playing with
it. In place. Is there maintenance and service contracts in place? We're talking about failures within the pod. Once again, is there a maintenance and service contract in place? Travis gets asked multiple questions.
That's not the question yet.
I really can't
Is there
hear
a
you loud,
maintenance and
buddy.
service contract in place with the
They are
pod?
not playing with her.
in there, right? Who had already been convicted.
Okay, as you can see, the New Orleans, Louisiana News is not playing with these people. They're not taking any softball pitches. They are coming hard and they are coming fast. So, that is crazy. We're gonna look at this facility in a minute, because I don't know about this whole it met the standard. I don't know about that, because I don't think it did personally. Because let me stop sharing this and share this. It does not look like it was meant to do what they needed to do now. But let's go. Let's see now. Of course, you all know that they've captured some of these men, because New Orleans has a really good facial recognition system. So let's pull this in. Let's talk about some of the people they've caught. Maybe we need to put that in, Jason. There we go. Let's go. No, not me. They ain't catch me. Let me get out of there. All right, let's go.
Hours. I'm joined now by my colleague, Travers Mackel. Travers, you actually got the first call into the newsroom about
And
this.
just to get back to what the sheriff said, just to what she said, let's go back to Sheriff Cutter, but that is not transparent when they don't take questions and they don't say, Shay, if you could ask him that right now, Shay,
to know why you didn't let us know.
I'll let you know as soon as we knew.
And I mean, Gary, how long did they dig a hole to get out? Could you let us know? Travers, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but I just tried to speak with Gary Sheets about the situation. As you can see, he did not want to talk. We're going to continue to try to find out as much information as we can. I'm just going to pitch things back to you. If you can see me.
Yeah, no, Shay, we hear you and we see you. And that's
you asked the right
good.
question. You asked the right question.
Just with respectfully to the sheriff, that is the absolute opposite of transparency when they don't tell you how people got out and they don't alert the public or media. We actually, to be transparent, which is what we do, we actually called the man you were chasing down to alert him of the situation.
They did not know
this morning.
When we called this morning.
We called the NOPD and they did not know this morning. So when they say they alerted people, they actually learned from WDSU.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Y'all.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, I can attest to calling several people who work here, and they did not know that an escape had even happened at the time. I mean, I know you all heard that there's been 11 people. So at first we were reporting that it was 7, but 11 detainees who have escaped. And I mean, just trying to ask them questions over and over about how it happened and why we're just finding out about it, why we had to alert them. It does seem that they aren't being transparent at all. Travers?
And look, Shay, obviously this is an active situation. The most important thing is to get these people captured. But if they don't know when they got out, if they broke out at midnight or 1 o'clock, I mean, a 7-hour drive, you could be in North Carolina or Florida by now if they got out. So obviously we're looking for a lot more information. I know you don't have it, and clearly the sheriff either doesn't have it or doesn't want to share it, but they gave no details, am I correct, on how these people even got out? And look, let's just point this out. This is a multi-million-dollar facility where they have cameras everywhere, and those inmates are supposed to be watched 24/7.
Okay, so I see somebody asked the question. As far as I know, the mayor just, like within the last 3 hours, addressed this topic. So we're talking like 20 plus hours that this has gone on before the mayor has said anything pertaining to it. So Mayor Cantrell is she's gonna catch a lot. And don't let these people get out there and actually commit further crimes. It's gonna be a wrap. It is going to be a whole wrap. So let me bring in, they've started catching some of these men. So let me bring this in for you all as well. Got it, I got it. No more struggle streaming. You two being up in here. Let's bring this in. Let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
All right, back to that breaking news situation of the inmates who have escaped. We have an update for you right now. Just minutes ago, Orleans Parish Sheriff captured a second inmate who was on the run. This is him on your screen right now. Robert Moody, who was jailed for illegal possession and concealment of a gun, as well as drug charges, was just apprehended by deputies. Right now, scarce information coming in, so we don't know how or when he was captured. We're working to get you that information, but a little bit of good news tonight. The second suspect now captured, Robert Moody, was captured just moments ago, one of 10 inmates who escaped this morning. These inmates are on your screen. The rest of them will show you. They are still on the run right now. They escaped early this morning around 8:30 when jail staff members did a routine check and noticed that they were missing from pod 1. Another inmate was captured in the French Quarter hours later this morning at around 10:30. Kendall Miles was captured at 10:30 this morning. Several law enforcement agencies are working right now aggressively to bring the remaining 8 inmates back into custody. At APOPSO's latest press conference, security footage was released showing how this all happened. So, of course, we'll have another update for you in an hour, and the latest are on WDSU.com.
Now, again, I think it's interesting. So they've caught 2 of them so far. I think it might be a third. I'll double check on that, but I do think it's interesting. They're not showing you how they actually got out of the building. And I'm going to show you that picture in a second. But let's look at some of the capturings, some of the resecuring of these fellows. Let's go. Dude was in like a 5-star hotel. This is when they captured the first guy. I don't remember what his name was, but this is when they captured the first one. That's a tall police officer.
He's in there. Let's go back. Hey, that's a bomb squad.
All right. So that was when they captured the first one. And I thought I had, Here's actually the picture of the first one getting on his special little ride. All right, so they caught him. They don't give you a lot of information on what details. I don't know who this is. But he get a ride. He get a ride up out of here. Say he was in the French Quarter. Wow, that's right. You're down there. Shout out to Brown Sweet One. You're down in the midst of that. Praying everything is well with y'all, and hopefully you all will have some peace, because this is gonna get put to an end prayerfully sooner than later. Let's go ahead and get an update. This is and I'm gonna try to put most of these in the description of this video, so that way you all can check it out and such like that. What's going on? Thank you so much for chiming in. Let's go. Let's go. And by the way, if you think that this was an inside job, I think the last two videos we're going to be talking about, like the theory that it was an inside job. I want to hear what you think about that. So be ready to talk about that. Let's go. Let's go. Looks like looks like the audio went out again. Did the audio go out again, good people? It does. All right, let me see. My browser just told me that the audio went out. So let me try that again. Bring this back in. All right, let's try this. One green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go. All right, let's bring this in. Let's go.
About the inmates who escaped from jail in Louisiana as of May 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. 11 inmates were reported missing from Orleans Parish Justice Center in Louisiana on Friday morning, though the sheriff's office has since clarified that only 10 men escaped the facility. One of the inmates who authorities believed had escaped, Keith Lewis, was never on the run but was not present at the morning head count because he had been moved to a different cell. Authorities apprehended one of the escapees, Kendall Miles, following the escape. The 9 remaining inmates are still at large. Jail records show that at least 4 of the escaped inmates are charged with murder or attempted murder. Charges for the other inmates include aggravated assault with a firearm, armed robbery with a firearm, armed false imprisonment, battery, and drug offenses. Sheriff Susan Hudson said Friday afternoon that the inmates broke out of the facility with help from inside the department. Hudson told reporters that the inmates were able to break open a door and stated that there was an employee in the pod module at the time of the incident. They were still able to exit the jail at about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind the toilet in the jail, Hudson said. Photos released by the sheriff's office show a large hole cut behind a toilet with phrases such as "we innocent" and "too easy LOL" written above it in the cell where the escape is believed to have occurred. Video surveillance showed the escapees exiting a door on the docks, scaling a wall, and running across the interstate, the sheriff stated. Chief of Corrections Jay Mallett said that the department is looking into whether power tools were used to facilitate the escape. It's more than just a breach of security, it was some type of help, he said. It would definitely be some type of tool used other than just the strength of a sheer individual. The Louisiana Attorney General said that her office has called for an investigation and will do whatever it takes to find out what happened. In a post on social media, the Attorney General wrote, "Someone clearly dropped the ball and there's no excuse for this." She added, "This is beyond unacceptable, and once these offenders are back in custody, there must be real accountability. This is a developing story. Follow Brute for more updates."
That is wild. Power tools? Y'all, what in the Shawshank are we watching? What are we watching? They literally said power tools, y'all. How does that even work? Like, I mean, I totally get that they might think somebody might have helped them, but my goodness, in the morning, that's some man. All right, so Mayor Cantrell really had not said anything for quite a while, for some time as this thing was developing, but she has materialized and she got something to say. So let's pull this in. for some reason or another, YouTube won't allow you to rewind. Not YouTube. Facebook won't allow you to rewind reels. All right, we're gonna start from where we are. Some reason or another, it won't allow me to rewind the reel. Rewind the reel. June, but what about Raekwon though? Raekwon needs to be free too, Kev. Come on, man, get that together, brother. All right, real quick. We're in the middle of her saying something, but it won't let me rewind it. Am I missing something? Is this a user error? Am I just some old curmudgeon? Why can't I rewind this? I need to download it. That's what I should do. All right, anyway, we're gonna just watch it twice then. Sorry, y'all.
And in the meantime, I want you to know that you are safe. If you do see something, you say something. But let our officers, let them do their jobs, and they're doing a great job on our behalf. And so let's stay focused, let's support one another, and let's support, again, the men and women that we know are facilitating this manhunt throughout our city and at every corner to bring justice. Thank you. This is your Mayor Latoya Cantrell, wanting to check in. Now, I'm at the World War II Museum celebrating the Armed Forces Day, and those men and women who are in New Orleans who give countless thousands of hours of volunteer service at every corner of our city to our community and to our people. But on that note, I wanted to stop and say thank you to the New Orleans Police Department, our unified command made up of the state police, of course, our federal partners, as they continue to work tirelessly on this manhunt to ensure that everyone is captured. And in the meantime, I want you to know that you are safe. If you do see something, you say something. But let our officers, let them do their jobs, and they're doing a great job on our behalf. And so let's stay focused. Let's support one another, and let's support, again, the men and women that we know are facilitating this manhunt throughout our city and at every corner to bring justice. Thank you. This is your.
Okay. Every time there's a tragedy or some kind of emergency in a state, there's always this clamor about what the mayor is doing, the governor is doing, so on and so forth. Should she be back in New Orleans just to demonstrate? And feel free, y'all chime in the chat. We're gonna take a second. I want to know what you think. Should Mayor Cantrell be in New Orleans? Because she's at the Civil War. I'm sorry, the World War II Memorial. But why is she not? Should she be in New Orleans talking about this? And then also, if you listen to the verbiage and the words that she uses, she doesn't say jailbreak. She doesn't say prisoners and inmates that escape. She's using very generic terms. And I'm just wondering, is she just trying to cover her backside? Is she trying to cover for somebody in the police force to drop the ball? Whatever like that. Do you think, number one, do you think Mayor Cantrell should be in New Orleans? Right there, taking questions, cracking the whip, and being the face of this. Now, again, this is not a major event like when there was the fire in LA. That was a big deal, right? And they wanted Mayor Bass to be there. And I can understand why Mayor Bass was there, because it was literally affecting thousands and tens of thousands of people. Where is the World War II? That's a great question. Where is the World War II Museum Memorial? Where is it? Okay, if she's it's in DC. That's the only one I found. The World War II Memorial's in DC. So she's in Washington, DC. Should she be hot tracking it back to New Orleans? What do y'all think? Island vibes. We're not supposed to talk about that. Island vibes. We're not supposed to discuss those things. I'm gonna have to put you in 0-second timeout. You're gonna have to go. The one that I found was in DC, but is there one in Hawaii? I don't know where she is, but she's not in New Orleans. That's what I think we all can agree. She ain't on Bourbon Street. Should she be there? She should probably return for appearance. I kind of agree with that now, especially after seeing what happened with LA and how Mayor Bass is kind of, tiptoed her way back, kind of got there when she got there, no big rush. It does kind of seem like having your leader there does make a big difference. It does make a big difference. So yeah, island vibe. Okay, you offered. Okay, good. You're out of 0-second timeout. But I don't know, man. And the words she was using, does anybody else find those words problematic, or is it just me? It just doesn't seem like she is saying things like, again, like we had a jailbreak, y'all. These people straight broke up out of jail, and they running a free, they running amok. I didn't see that, didn't hear that, and it just seems kind of weird that she doesn't say those kind of things. But what do y'all think? Most people are saying she should definitely be there on the first flight, smoking to NOLA. Absolutely. Yeah, I think she should be there. Pod A represent up in the building. Pod A represent. I see you, Kev. I see you. All right, let's keep this game going. So I got a ton of other little short TikToks, and then we got the last news article that really examines that jail cell that they snuck out of. So let's pull this in. Let's go. How can she ensure safety? I think the optics aren't good for her. No argument for me. June, no argument for me. Now, if she was there, would you be more prone to believe her, though? That's what I'm wondering. If she was actually in New Orleans, she was on Bourbon Street, speaking at this, answering questions from the media, so on and so forth. I don't think it's like her fault as much, but I mean, we can have that argument. I think the argument can be made. But the sheriff lady and these other law officials, they gonna catch it. They gonna catch hands, I'm sure. All right, let's go see what they got going on. One green hearts in chat when you can hear.
There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible for anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened.
Now, she said something interesting. I'm gonna play it again. She said help from the outside. We're arguing that they had help on the inside. And when you see that jail cell, and I use it actually as a thumbnail now I think about it. When you see that thumbnail, I'm sorry, that's an inside job.
We do acknowledge there is no way people can get out of this facility without there being some type of lapse in security. There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible for anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that people can get out because they did. I mean, again, we got the most Shawshank Redemption thing I've ever seen. We should have come up with some jailbreak themes, like some other movies with jailbreak. Alcatraz, was it The Rock? Like we need some themes. What's going on in there? What's happening, Lady Luck Club? Good to see you, friend. But ma'am, they did in fact get out of there. Okay, so let's look at the actual jail cell. And y'all, I'm sorry. You're gonna really have to work hard to convince me. You're gonna have to work real hard to convince me that this facility is the most up-to-date facility possible. I don't think we got that. I don't think we have that luxury to believe that. Look at this. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Following tonight, that massive manhunt after a stunning jailbreak in New Orleans. 10 inmates escaping, some charged with murder, all considered armed and dangerous. And authorities tonight investigating whether this was an inside job. Here's ABC's Maria Villarreal.
Tonight, these stunning images from inside a New Orleans jail cell where 10 inmates, some charged with murder, escaped, sparking an urgent citywide manhunt. The toilet dislodged from a cell wall, exposing an opening. Scrawled on the wall above, "We innocent and too easy," with an arrow toward the hole where they escaped, out of view of the officer on duty. Authorities say it happened just after midnight when the inmates broke a lock on a cell door.
They were still able to.
Okay, it was after midnight. So let's just say for laughs and giggles, it was at 12 o'clock on the dot. Okay. Look at Mayor Cantrell has just said something about this. Really, I'm not even being funny, like in the last 3 hours. That's not a good look, but keep going. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, I was muted. Okay, so let's keep this going.
To exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on.
So they left at 1:01. So they broke that door at 12. They snuck out 61 minutes later. And not one person in law enforcement, not one person that gets paid was on duty to know that 10 people, 10 men somehow or another were running free. And I'm sure it wasn't quiet to yank that door off the hinge. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe it's like, silent glide door. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that would make sense to me. But I don't know how often they do rounds, but it seemed like they didn't do rounds for 61 minutes. The door, the hole did not go directly outside, but I think we can all see pretty clearly that was pretty bad. That was in bad shape, ill repair. I saw a TikTok of somebody who was a resident in there, and he talked about it, but it was a lot of profanity. But he's basically said all of the sinks and toilets are like that. You just shove them off the wall, and there's a hole behind them. So this is pretty common, actually. It's not this cell was not the only one that's like that. There are other ones like that. This one probably was the best, maybe had the best access to the outside, maybe the quickest access to the loading dock, whatever. But apparently, again, listen to a young guy that was actually a resident in this Gray Bar Hotel. He said that this is common, that there are other ones like that where you just shove it off the wall and there's a hole and you can kind of do what we're watching right here. Let's keep this going though. This is such a wild story, y'all. I'm so sorry for people in New Orleans, man. This is y'all deserve better than this.
On the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate.
That is
Officials
crazy.
believe the escapees had help.
These detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department.
They say the toilet could not be removed with bare hands, suggesting someone inside the jail system may have helped the inmates unscrew it with a power tool.
We are investigating that to see exactly who entered these areas, what kind of work was done, if there was work being done, and if this is an inside job.
Jail officials first noticing the inmates were missing during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, so remember what time, boy. All right, I gotta go back to my second grade teacher years. All right, now, boys and girls, what time did the initial door get broken off the hinge? Put it in the chat. What time did we say the initial door was broke off the hinge? Let me see those answers in the queue. I miss those days, man. I do miss it. That's right. That's right, little DWC. 12 midnight. That's right. And what time did they first start? No, the door was broke off the hinge at 12. They started sneaking out the door at 1 o'clock. So that means it is fair to say for 8 hours, nobody was on that in that pod checking her out. That's crazy. 8 hours? I mean, you can get pretty far, except in Texas, in 8 hours, because after 8 hours, you're still going to be in Texas. But you can get a lot of places in 8 hours. I can get to where? I can get to almost Virginia from Atlanta, and Lord knows I could get to probably middle Florida in that amount of time. That's crazy. So nobody came by and watched until 8:30. Y'all, come on. That is the wildest. New Orleans, y'all need, that's a long time. Ain't it a long time? That's a lot of time. If they broke that thing off the hinge, if they broke this thing, I don't want to rewind it. Maybe we'll go back and start again in a minute. If they broke that door off the hinge at 12 o'clock midnight, and nobody realized that they were gone till 8:30, I mean, you can smoke some ribs in that time, my guy. Good gracious, man. You can smoke quite a bit of ribs, actually.
But that's more than 7 hours after they say the escapees were off prison property and on the run. One of the 10 escapees captured before noon found hiding beneath a car at a hotel in the French Quarter. And moments ago, a second suspect caught, with 8 more still on the run. Local schools and universities are on high alert, adding more security on campus and at graduation ceremonies. With this urgent manhunt underway right now, the FBI and the U.S. Marshals also joining in this search. Whit?
Yeah, still a major concern. Maria, thank you.
All right, that is some bonkers stuff. All right, let's jump back over here and jump on the police chief, sheriff's radar and see what she has to say. What kind of wisdom is she going to share? I am amazed at this story, y'all. I shout out again to Marshall. Marshall be sending me stuff. I'm like, man, I don't want that, but I'm glad I looked at it because this story is bonkers, man. There's so much to this thing. Like, you got to be kidding me. So let's go ahead and find out what this young lady's got to say as it relates to the political spin. Because now, of course, everything happens. There's a political spin to it. Now they're looking at, the politics. I don't think we really need to look at, I think we need to look at the effectiveness of the leadership, not necessarily the D or the R or the I or the L next to the leadership's name. They're all incompetent. That's what we need to look at. But that's just my little 2 cents. Let's see what they got to say. Greenheart's in chat when you can hear.
The news coverage out here, and it is being made into a political issue. Political people are making this a political issue. I want to be really clear. This is a public safety issue, and we all need to continue to work together to solve it, to get these folks back in custody. And we are doing that. All of our energy at OPSO is going towards getting these folks back into custody and finding out exactly what happened. It's a fluid situation. When we're aiming to respond to all media inquiries as quickly as we can possibly do that, but I still have to investigate it, and the integrity of the investigation has to stand. We do acknowledge there is no way people can get out of this facility without there being some type of lapse in security. There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible for anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened. We know that, I want to say that we know that folks are normally locked down in this facility at 10:30 p.m., but these folks that were able to get out did so because of defective locks on the cells. I've talked about those locks since I got into office. I wrote a letter to the consent decree judge, to the city council, and everybody else who would listen. And every time I go to budget, I say the exact same thing. When you all covered our millage, I said the exact same thing. There are deficiencies in these facilities that cause public safety concerns. That's why the millage was so important. We'll get into that a little bit more as we move forward. I need to confirm that Kendall Miles is in custody. He is being rebooked for simple escape as well. OPSO deputies found him hiding beneath the car at the Hotel Monteleone parking garage, and he was transported to OJC by the Louisiana State Police. We also need to acknowledge that Keith Lewis, who was previously reported as an escaped detainee, was in a different cell. So he had been moved, but it had not been updated. So he is not on the run. There were 10, not 11, and he is in our facility and did not try to escape. The remaining individuals are being actively pursued, and our deputies, in collaboration with local and state law enforcement, are working tirelessly to locate and return them to custody. Now we're going to try and go through a little bit of the timeline of events, because what's being reported out there isn't accurate.
Okay, so let's look at how she outlines the timeline, because I think this is going to be key. So let's look at how she explains the timeline of failure.
What we noticed is that the detainees began yanking on a cell to pull it off track. These are the cells that we keep telling that we need to replace at great cost in this facility. They were able to break, that was around 12:23 a.m. They were able to break open a door. There was a corrections monitoring technician in the pod module to be watching that. They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate shortly thereafter. We have indication that these detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department, and the escape was discovered during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. this morning.
Okay, so she's sticking with the story. So that's an 8-hour lapse, 7.5, however you want to use the math. That's a little bit of time. That's quite a bit of time that these guys were on the lam, and they're supposed to be locked down at 10 o'clock or 10:30, and they're busy running around at midnight. Yeah, that's crazy. They say inside. And yeah, 8:30, they broke the door at 12:24, something like that. That number kind of fluctuates, and left the building at 1 o'clock. That means that they were on the lam for 7.5 hours. This is wild. And being the fact that they have such great, apparently New Orleans has some really great surveillance. That's how they're finding these men, because of the surveillance, which is okay. That's cool. That's dope. But maybe y'all should have it inside the jail. I'm just saying. Clearly, y'all need it inside the jail too.
The deputy who was on duty promptly notified jail leadership, and around probably before 9:30, we notified the United States Marshals Task Force, which includes all of our partners in the area, and that was before 9:30, about the incident. I found out myself about 9 o'clock and was on my way to the jail and moving through it. About that time, the exact time I can't give you, but it was before 9:30. I asked our personnel, have we notified NOPD? Have we notified our partners? I was told yes, the task force was notified. And then we were also able to discern that the NOPD was also notified through the Fusion Center. Now, when this went down, our first concern is to find out who these folks are, confirm, and then we've got to lock down the whole jail and make sure nobody else is missing. That's the first thing we have to do. We also have people being moved out to court. We've got to confirm who those are. So this is a fluid situation as we're trying to get a handle on 1,400 people in this facility. So it was a fluid situation. We're still gathering information. We are investigating our own to find out exactly what happened and where those lapses were. But there were supervisors on duty. There were lower level folks on duty, and they all had a job to do. And we're going to find out exactly what happened.
All right. So she's sticking with the timeline that we heard on the newscast, maybe like 20 minutes, give or take. So it still just boggles my mind that they say there's somebody there on the pod, on the wing, to be in surveillance, and the person didn't do anything, didn't recognize, 10 people, 10 brothers running around, yanking a door off the hinge and sneaking through a toilet hole, a hole behind the toilet. That is the wildest thing. Let's get this done. So there has been I think someone has been captured. Let me double check. I believe so. A total of 3 has been captured, I think. So let's go ahead and look at it. Let's go.
To that breaking news, a manhunt underway for 7 inmates still on the run more than 24 hours after escaping from the Orleans Parish Jail. We learned overnight that another 2 escapees were recaptured, bringing the total number to 3. WDSU reporter Ariel Brumfield joining us live from the sheriff's office, where she is tracking those latest developments. And Ariel, we now know where those inmates are in custody this morning, or do we know?
Well, Morgan, we are told that those 3 captured inmates are now in the custody of LSP officials. They were moved to a different facility than the jail right behind me. We have new images that we received showing those newly captured inmates in handcuffs. They were getting into a helicopter with officials, but the search still remains for those 7 inmates still on the run. Now, we are showing you those pictures that we received from officials this morning of those 3 captured inmates. That is DeKeenan, Dennis, Kendall Miles, and Robert Moody. 7 still on the run and being sought after. To recap, officials say 10 inmates escaped the OPSO jail early Friday morning. They entered a cell, removed a toilet, adjusted the piping and plumbing, escaped through a wall, and then scaled a fence. Law enforcement caught Kendall Miles yesterday hiding under a car in the French Quarter. Robert Moody was found in Central City, and then late last night, DeKeenan Dennis was found in New Orleans East. We know that when the escape happened, there were about 4 supervisors and 36 staff members on shift overnight here at OPSO, but Sheriff Hudson says the jail is still understaffed by about 60%. Now, the media was not notified of the escaped inmates until close to 10 a.m. yesterday morning. Officials still working to bring those last 7 men in.
It does not matter, but we will deem all escapees as Louisiana state prisoners. They will be LSP's prisoners. They will not be booked into the Orleans Parish, and other arrangements have been made.
We recognize that some of these individuals may have left the city and moved out into other parishes and possibly left Louisiana. And that's why we have our federal partners here with us who have leveraged all of their resources to keep not only New Orleans safe, but all Louisiana.
And as a reminder, there is a reward for anyone who can provide information about the inmates. $2,000 per inmate is going to be given by Crime Stoppers. That number is 822-1111. The FBI also offering a $5,000 reward. Reporting from LPSO, I'm Ariel Brumfield Morgan. I'll send it back to
you. Okay, they said, look, we're about to put some bounties on these people's heads. This story is wild. This story is just absolutely wild. And you know it's going to go on because they're going to be a countdown till they get to the last inmate. So there is one young lady who's a newscaster in New Orleans, Louisiana, and she's given like a timeline of what all has happened. And I think it's pretty robust. It kind of brings out everything that we've just watched all into a nice little bow. So I'm gonna bring this in. It's a little lengthy, but I think it might, if you're interested in the story and want to be brought up to speed, I think this will probably bring you up to speed with everything. This is like literally like 2 hours ago. So she's pretty up to date. And unless something's happened while we've been talking. So there's that. Let me bring this in. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to come to you today to talk about the inmates who escaped yesterday. There are a few updates for me to give you, and also I want to tell you a little bit about what I've been working on. So first, let me start by saying that in taking a look at the records for the individuals who did escape, all of them either are facing violent offense charges or they have weapons charges. And I'll say that 5 of them have been dealing with murder charges. So you've got Tate, Donald, Boyd, and Price all dealing with murder charges, and Groves has actually been convicted of murder. I think one of the best ways we can start this conversation today is by taking a look at the timeline of how this all went down. And Devin Bartolotta with WWL TV did a good job at breaking this down for us.
Here's the timeline. 10 men broke out around 1 a.m. 7 hours later, around 8:30, they were discovered missing and jail leadership was notified. An hour later, the marshals were notified at 9:30. Then at 10:30, NOPD was notified. And at 11:30, a press release went out notifying the public of what was going on. Not until after 1:30 p.m. did those mugshots of those missing men get released. A full 12-hour head start with the public not knowing what these guys look like.
Okay, so I think the big question we have to start out with is, why did it take 7.5 hours for anyone in the Justice Center to realize that 10 inmates were gone? So that's question number 1. So then number 2, when it was realized that 10 inmates had escaped and were gone, why wasn't there this like big alarm that rung where the media was notified, all the law enforcement agencies, outside law enforcement agencies like NOPD, state police were notified, the public was notified? Like, these things should have happened immediately as soon as they found out. And honestly, the fact that it didn't is just totally unacceptable. And it's also incredibly irresponsible, because it is a public safety danger to have these individuals now out in the community, and the fact that no one knew about it when the sheriff's department knew that they were gone. And it took so long to get this information out to NOPD and state police. Like I said, I just think it's unreal. It's unbelievable. And what's interesting is that there is a law. There is a law that says that when a juvenile offender escapes a facility, that facility has to alert the public, police, you name it, within 10 minutes of that escape. Now, what's interesting is that there is no law for adult offenders. Now, with legislators who I've talked to, that is obviously likely now going to change this legislative session, and this law will be updated to also, of course, include adult facilities as well. But everyone I talk to just keeps telling me, it's like, Lena, nobody really thought that they would need this type of law, because it is just common sense and just a common protocol that when there is an escape to go and alert the public. Okay, here's the other piece too that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the supervision in the jail, because this is another thing that I really have questions about, and I'll tell you what I'm working on in this regard. So we saw video from the sheriff's news conference. Well, let me back up. From what we heard from the sheriff's news conference is that there was one guard in the pod where this all went down, and that person left to go get food when apparently, you know, the 10 inmates cut the hole and got out of there.
Man,
why is there only one person in this pod, and why are they allowed to leave and leave everyone unmonitored, and just have no one in the pod? So that's question number one. Okay, number two, once these individuals were able to cut the hole and get out, there is camera footage of all 10 of them running out of the Justice Center, like into like outside of the building. Did no one see this on the cameras? Is anyone watching the cameras? Because you would think that this would be like a huge, somehow the system would flag this like, hey, you know, there's a bunch of people now running out the building. So that to me, I once again, so who's monitoring the cameras? So the next big question that, you know, we keep hearing is about the funding. You know, we've heard the sheriff talk about the funding. So I'm sure you're probably asking, okay, Helena, where is the money going? Good question. Very good question. I would like to actually know that too. And those have been questions that the city council has been asking for quite some time, because the city is required to give the sheriff money, but we are not getting a detailed explanation as to how that money is being spent. The reason for that is, remember that the sheriff's office is not like the NOPD, where the council has oversight over the NOPD. The sheriff's office is a separate office with a duly elected sheriff, and they, you know, are required to receive city dollars. But unfortunately, unlike our district attorney, who is in our city's BRASS system, where we can monitor how all that is being spent, the sheriff has refused to come into our BRASS system so that we can understand how every dollar is being spent. There's also this special fund that is part of the sheriff's office that apparently potentially gets, you know, donations and has some vending machine money, all these different pieces to the special fund, and we still don't understand, you know, what's really going into that particular special fund. So because of that, and because there's questions about funding, I've actually called in the legislative auditor to actually go in and do a real audit as to what's happening with the funding for the sheriff's office. And I actually want to thank State Representative Jason Hughes from District 100 in New Orleans East for helping me with this request to the legislative auditor. To get the legislative auditor working quickly, we always have to have a legislator be the one to kind of spearhead this and ask for this. And Representative Hughes took that step on my request to get this audit going and get the legislative auditor in there. I've also asked the legislative auditor to take a look at the different security protocols that were in place, as far as I mentioned before, the monitoring of the cameras. You know, what's the staffing look like? What are the protocols once there is an escape? What is the sheriff's department supposed to do to alert the public, and how quickly are they supposed to do it? So at the same time, though, I do know that obviously, you know, there's a potential that there were some individuals on the inside working for the sheriff's office who may have assisted in this. I know that the sheriff is doing an internal investigation, as she mentioned. 3 people have been suspended pending this investigation. Dang. I appreciate that the sheriff is doing an investigation, but we also need a third-party outside investigation as well. So whether that's, you know, the district attorney, the attorney general, whoever it's going to be, I guess likely the attorney general would probably have more ability to really get in there because she is representative of the state. But ultimately, you know, we need to have an outside party really look into what happened, particularly if we're talking about criminal charges within the department, because they helped individuals get out. So like I said, the things I'm working on is obviously the legislative auditor coming in, figuring out like what the heck is going on with the funding and the security protocols within there. Also working on state legislation to make sure that, you know, now we have to have a law that requires that there is immediate notification of the public, the media, law enforcement agencies, as soon as there is an escape of any type of detention facility like this. And then finally, you know, obviously talking and working with whatever our law enforcement partners need. I really appreciate the NOPD and all of the other law enforcement agencies who've been working so hard on this. They've already been able to capture 3 of the inmates, 7 still remain at large. They're working, state police and NOPD are working with multiple jurisdictions. They're working with law enforcement agencies in other states now. Not to say that these individuals are particularly in other states, but just in case. And so a lot is happening. And obviously that is like the key priority. But there are other things that, of course, we also need to be working on and looking at. So I'll continue to do what I can to keep you updated. In the meantime, if you know anything, if you can help police in any way, please call 911. I want to remind everyone that there is also a $5,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of any one of these inmates who has escaped. And you can remain anonymous when you provide this information and still be able to receive your cash reward. I'll keep you updated, guys. Besides that, have a great weekend.
All right. I thought that was going to be a good way to end this conversation. Hold on. I'm listening to somebody cutting grass in the back. There we go. I thought this would be a good way to end it because this is crazy, y'all. This is absolutely bonkers. But as Summer Sunshine says, sunrise, what a mess. What a mess. What a mess. I mean, I guess so. I guess if you gotta narc them all out, Lady Luck. You gotta. Hey, look, I know where all of them are. Was it 7 more? That's 35,000. Hey, go ahead. Let's make it happen. But y'all, thank you so much for that. It's been an interesting story. I'm sure we'll probably come back and run it back and get some more insight and some more intel on it. So as soon as things get going, we will do that. I do want to say shout out to Miss Mandy in the chat. She just mentioned to everyone that she has some major health issues coming up, and definitely would like to and solicit your prayers for Mandy. If you would, Mandy, just drop your email in the chat so people know how to connect with you, and of course your link and all that, so people can stay in touch with you. I think that'd be great for us to keep up with you and make sure that you're encouraged as you are overcoming this challenge for sure. So definitely Mandy in the building. Lots of love for the producer of this show. She helps out a great deal. So we definitely appreciate her and want her to be well. So if you would drop your link and everything in there, Mandy, that would be great for sure. I do want to add also that I appreciate, let me drop this off there. Sorry about that. I appreciate everybody who is not only like the videos, but engage in the content, all that kind of good stuff. I say it all the time because I mean it all the time. It really means a lot that you all are engaged in the content that we're putting out over here. So thank y'all so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Y'all make sure you send Miss Mandy, pray for Mandy, of course. And of course, send her some shout outs, check on her, all that kind of good jazz. And she's been a great help to this channel as well as just overall, just to the community as a whole. So shout out to Mandy, y'all. I want to say thank y'all again for that. It means a lot. As we're rounding the bases, hey, let me know if y'all run into more about this story. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be back running it back real soon as they capture more of these inmates and such like that. As more information and details come out, I'm pretty sure we'll be back over here again. So I appreciate that y'all tapping in with us for sure. And let me know what kind of what you might run across. I'd appreciate it for sure. Thank you so much. Let me see what we got. Good people over here. Good stuff. I love it. I love it. I did put your email up there, right, Mandy? Yeah, okay. There's Mandy's email. Oh, by the way, I mentioned earlier that there was a TikTok of a young former resident of the prison system there in New Orleans. And he just had a different story pertaining to the those holes behind the toilets and all that kind of stuff like that behind the sinks. And so I put the link, the TikTok right here. He just has a lot of language problems, and I don't have time to be editing that out. And so I'm just gonna let you see it right there. So I dropped the link right there if you want to hear what he has to say. He just says, like, hey, those holes in there, they're there. So it doesn't take as much as what we were told. That's what he was saying, at least. So I don't know him to tell the truth or not. I just think it's just something interesting. So check that out. Let me know what you think about it. What we got here? What we got here? Good people. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's going to be lots of good conversation back and forth. Yeah, I think the whole story about the New Orleans case right there, I think it's going to come down to these camera systems that they have. I heard about them even during the Super Bowl. heard that they had these great, phenomenal camera systems. So that's going to come up during about it. Of course, there's going to be conversation about whether or not they have enough funding and such like that, because those doors look janky. I'm sorry. Those doors look horrible. So I don't know what they need to do, but Lord knows they need to have a real conversation about what they should do about all those doors, because they're just yanking them off the hinge. That's not going to work. Of course, we're going to hear about somebody helping them out or assisting them in getting out. Of course, that's going to come up. And of course, again, prayerfully, there won't be anything like somebody's injured by one of these men. That's what I'm really praying against, that nobody actually gets injured by these clowns, because I think that would be horrible for New Orleans, because it's going to add more complexity to the situation. Because why were they out to hurt somebody? Well, they were out because poor management. So hopefully that won't be the case, though. Perfectly, they will not have anybody injured or hurt, and they can get these guys back as quickly as possible, because otherwise I think that's going to be a bad look for New Orleans for sure. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below, all that kind of good jazz. I do want to try something different. I'm going to shift gears, because I was talking about a topic on another channel probably about 2 weeks ago. No, it couldn't have been 2 weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. Anyway, it was about the Pope. And I'm not a Catholic at all. But I thought it was interesting that the Pope is from, well, it has history in Dolton. And I was on No Apologies, Just Me's channel. And I said that if I were in leadership in Dolton, I would immediately, because the childhood home of the Pope is in Dolton. And it's in decent repair. It's not like, I think someone bought it like as an investor recently. And I mentioned to the person, if I were in leadership in Dolton, I would go immediately and I would seek to buy the Pope's former childhood home and make it a tourist spot, because it's going to be a tourist attraction no matter what, whether you buy it or not. They're going to make it a tourist attraction. I would also buy the former church that he was a pastor or what's it called, priest over, and I would absolutely, because the people are going to come. You don't have to hang a shingle out. They're going to come. And so I said I would, if somebody asked me what to do, if Jason House said, okay, reached out to Dear World Christian and said, what should I do, Dear World Christian? I would tell him I would immediately buy the Pope's former house and go ahead and make it a tourist location. And people said, man, people are like, man, that's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. Well, guess what? The mayor of South Suburban Dolton is not ruling out the village buying the childhood home of Pope Leo. I told you. That's what I would have done. I would have already bought it. We wouldn't be having this conversation. That house would have been bought by the city right now. Again, I'm not Catholic, but you can't beat the fact that that's going to be a tourist trap. People are going to be coming to Dolton because people have been there because of the man is from this area. Why not? Why not? Just why not? Okay. All right. The mayor of South Suburban Dolton is not ruling out the village buying the childhood home of the Pope Leo. A rehabber bought the home on 141st Place for $66,000 and had offered to sell it for $219,000 before Pope Leo was elected. The house is now up for auction. When asked about the house or the village of Dolton possibly buying the home through eminent domain, Mayor Jason House told the Daily Southtown he wouldn't rule it out. House says that he plans to speak with the owner about the property soon. House says that he's excited about the home's potential as an attraction and a historical landmark while ensuring it's honored properly. And I think that was the end of it. So I just thought it was interesting because somebody asked me about that, and I literally brought that up. I said I would absolutely unequivocally cop that house as quick as I can, because people are going to be coming, and Dolton is on a better trajectory, I guess we can all say. It's turned the corner. It's that would be an investment I think that they would be smart to make. I'm just saying. Let me know what y'all think about it. I think they could definitely do it. Again, I mean, people are going to come, so you might as well go ahead and get your coffee houses in there, get your get your bookstores, go on and get your dog parks, go and get that stuff. People are going to be coming. Get hotels. They're going to be coming, so you might as well just go ahead. And Dolton could use it. I mean, that's just unequivocal. Dolton could use it, but I don't understand I don't see why you should leave it on the table. And if nothing else, you can fix some of them roads, because some of them potholes I hit, boy, them things will take your whole teeth out your mouth, all of them. So shout out to Dolton, though, man. I'm really praying that things go well for them. Shout out to the new administration. This is just one little small blip on their radar. Hopefully it'll be something good. But really, I think I'm looking forward to hearing great things about Team House and their administration doing stuff there in Dolton and really blessing and being a furtherance and helping the community there in the Southland. I think they call it the Southland. So shout out to them, and hopefully it'll be hopefully it'll go well there. We'll see what happens there for sure. But everybody, I want to say thank you so much for tapping in. It was fun talking about what's going on in New Orleans. Keep me posted. If you run across articles, if you run across newscasts that are maybe giving new updates, I'm trying to keep up with it. I know Marshall going to keep me up to date. I really should show you all of the, let me see if I can show you all this, because Marshall is my guy. I love Marshall. But like that's my brother from another. I'm not kidding. That guy keeps me up to date. Can I show you this window? I can't do this. I cannot. Oh, I can show you the picture. No, the picture might not even work either. Anyway, but shout out to Marshall. Great brother, man. He's done a great job of helping me with this channel. Okay. All right. This is a screenshot of my toolbar, my tab bar on my computer right now. Those are all of the links that Marshall sent me that I used tonight. And I'm promising you, there's like 10 more that I didn't use. They had some profanity in them, or they're just too short or whatever like that. Marshall just be really blessing me, man. He be coming through helping me out a lot. So shout out to Marshall the plug, man. I really appreciate him, man, for sure. Hey, well, welcome to the family, Summer Sunrise. Thank you so much for letting us know. Grace and peace. Welcome to the family. If we can help you out, let me know. I don't know everything, but I know where we can find it. I can point you in the right direction as best I can. So thank you so much for coming through. Thank you. I do want to say again, thank y'all to everybody. If you run across articles or something related to that New Orleans case, let me know. I think we'll do it again tomorrow, or we'll definitely do it again by Monday for sure. I do want to say shout out again to Miss Mandy, praying that everything goes well. If you could, please keep us posted on what's going on your channel and whatnot, and we'll definitely let everyone know over here at Dear Woke Christian. We're definitely praying for your complete and total healing for sure. I do want to end by saying thank y'all so much for tapping in. I appreciate you. We had a little bit close to 100 tap in with us tonight. Just thought it would be a fun time to talk about this. Oh, there we go. I want to say shout out to all parents that are dealing with graduations and the such like that. And last night I had a live stream where we were talking about Black fatigue. And my takeaway was the best way to deal with Black fatigue is to just go meet people, talk to people. Don't let unspoken questions and stuff like that linger and turn into stereotypes and turn into hardness of heart. Just go talk to people. So I bring all that up because I was talking to my daughters today. I was being intentional, y'all. I was really trying to make sure I tapped in with my kids. I had no headphones on. I was eating breakfast, but I'm zeroing in on them. I didn't even yell at them because they had their bonnets on down the stairs in the kitchen, right? And we had the best conversation. It was such a refreshing conversation with a 17 and a 15-year-old that you could have without pulling your hair out. Like, wait, y'all really been paying attention. You really have been listening to the things I talk about and the things my wife and I try to encourage you to do and to understand, y'all really did pay attention. I was pleasantly surprised. So I say that because if you're dealing with graduation, some of your kids' friends are going to be coming by for graduation parties, or was it senior sunset, and all these other little traditions that they have. Get involved with those kids. Talk to them. You'd be surprised. A lot of them are not as, they might still have purple hair, and we got to have a conversation about that. but a lot of them are doing a lot more than you realize, and they're doing better than you thought. And you, mom, you, dad, uncles, aunts, grandparents, y'all might not be doing as bad as you thought you were doing. So by God's grace, they actually are getting it. There's a lot. I was really surprised. Today. I was like, wow, y'all really do listen. I said, wow, y'all really do listen to me. They've done a good job of making me think they don't listen, but they do listen. And I was like, go figure. What do you know? So my encouragement to you all is get involved, talk to your kids' friends. Like next week, we have President Firstborn's graduation party. I am ready. I'm ready. We're gonna have a good time. I'm talking to all their friends. I'm gonna find out what they're doing, what they don't want to do, and be a part of their lives as best I can. I saw my children. I saw my Spelman, my birthday sister today. She's going to Spelman. I went to her graduation party. It was so good to see her. And just talking to, again, sometimes it's hard to deal with kids, and you kind of get discouraged because you see the generation, you see them as a whole, as a herd, and it's easy to just like, oh, forget it, like they're lost. But just get a hold of one or two and just have a good conversation with them. I think you will be pleasantly surprised, because I was blown away. I was like, wait, they actually are listening. They actually heard what I've been saying. All right. Shout out to all graduating. Shout out to all parents that have high school graduates. And then, of course, college graduates and all the others like that. We'll even throw kindergarten graduates in there too, if you got kindergarten graduates. But shout out to them all. It's a fun season, it's a fun time, and all that kind of stuff. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. By God's grace, you've done the best. People always try to tell you, like, you did a great job and you've done this, that, and the other. You're like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes I don't think they even know how to put their shoes on, but they've been listening. They have been listening. They said that they didn't want to come on. I said, y'all should come on and talk about this and tell everybody that your dad knows what he's talking about. They said, Dad, no, we're not going to do that. So you just have to take my word for it. My kids actually pay attention to me, and they probably pay attention to you too. You just don't know it. But when they get out there in the mix, the things that you told them, the things that you taught them, by God's grace, will be brought back to their remembrance. They'll make the right decisions and ultimately bring honor to the Lord and make you proud to some degree. Like, man, I did a good job of raising this rascal. Now, I don't know where my little rascal is, because she's been sending me pictures from all her little graduation parties that she's been going to. One of her friends is going to Morehouse, and he has a water bottle with the Morehouse label on it. And she asked me, did I want one? I said, yeah, bring me one. I think that'd be cute. Because he's going to Morehouse. So I think that's fun. But yeah, just end on that note. Like, as Brown Sweet one said, they listen. Sometimes maybe this is what my mom and dad thought. Maybe this is what my mom and dad thought too. Like that guy, that dude ain't paying no attention. They might have said that dude ain't paying attention, but lo and behold, here we are. So thank y'all so much for that. That was a lot of fun, man. And I will keep you posted. Tomorrow we got why am I going to graduation parties? So I got a graduation party tomorrow. Then we got baccalaureate tomorrow afternoon. And I forgot what else. I need to look at my calendar real quick. I don't know. We got something else. And then that's it. So I might do a live stream tomorrow. We'll see. I'll let you know ahead of time. It won't be 10 minutes before. I promise. I'll do better than that. I was just rushing. But yeah, that was it. So shout out to all parents and graduates, high school, college. Like I said, we'll throw kindergarten in there as well. Kindergartner graduates, all that kind of good stuff. So Thank you, June. Okay, well, I guess maybe I did do a good job. Maybe so. Thank God. Praise God. Because there's many a day I'm like, Lord, what have I done? Thank you so much, Lady Luck Club. So we will keep you posted on that. Y'all, shout out to all the parents, all that good jazz. Have a beautiful Lord's Day on tomorrow. Go and enjoy your family. Of course, go worship the Lord with your church community. And I will see you all, Lord willing, real soon. So until then, grace and peace. Take care. See you soon.